In this video, we're going to zoom in to the Goldstone Report itself. I'm going to try to look at the how factor, how the report was written, and what can we learn about the report from the way that it was drafted and what it decided to focus on. Let's begin with the identity of the people that were selected by the Human Rights Council to be the ones responsible for managing this fact-finding mission. We're talking about every single one of these individuals, a judge, is a person with a previous track record of publicly condemning Israel in context of this conflict. This is like appointing a judge that knows you from previous instances, that thinks something about you from previous instances, and now has to be neutral in the way he judges you. This is a problem. And you should be asking people if they think that the previous track record, the political opinions expressed by the individuals who were responsible for managing this fact-finding mission, if they think that these opinions as expressed in the past have any impact on their ability to be non-biased when conducting this fact-finding mission. Number two, the title of the report submitted by these individuals. And I read to you, the human rights in Palestine and other occupied Arab territories. Doesn't the title indicate in any way about the positioning of this document in its entirety? Shouldn't the title have been more neutral? Shouldn't have the title been a research and a fact-finding mission into possible human rights violation in Gaza and the area? Ask people if they think that the title of a document has any indication, holds any indication on the nature of the document onto itself. Three, let's take a look at the scope and the focus of the document itself. In the beginning of the document it says that this document deals with the possible violations of human rights during the period of December 27th, 2008 and January 18th, 2009 during the Gaza war, or any events that may have taken place before, during, or after. But when we look at the report itself, we see that it's very, very tilted. The report has one paragraph only out of 585 pages that relates to the possible violations of human rights and international law by the Palestinians, representing 10,000 rockets or more that they shot to Israeli territories and Israeli cities during the 8 years prior to the war. And that's it. They don't give examples. They don't talk about the scope of the damage. They don't talk about the nature of the rockets themselves, but they do talk about the nature of the weapons Israel used. They don't give dates, nothing. But when the report deals with Israel's conduct during the 3 weeks of the war, it actually gives case-by-case examples of, on this date, Israel used this weapon to attack this destination, causing these casualties. Now, this is a major problem, because this is very much like a director of a movie in Hollywood telling the camera to focus on this part of the wall rather on this. And we all know how movies can affect the way we see reality. Well, in effect, this report is like a movie meant to demonize Israel, at least when we look at the makeup of the report itself. Another question we have to ask ourselves is, if the report deals with the past 10 years in context of this war, why does most of the report only deal with the 3 weeks of the war? It's very, very easy to show people fragmented pieces of reality. We can show you somebody walking up to somebody else in the street and punching them in the face, and that's it. And then ask you, what do you think about that person? But if we find out that if the camera had recorded 5 minutes prior, we would have seen that the person being punched out is a mass murderer that just killed that person's family, the way we relate to the person punching that mass murderer is very different. This is very similar to this report. The report says it's going to deal with the greater context, but really only goes into specific details of what happened in the war. And that raises a serious question mark, another serious question mark, on the legitimacy of this report.